6 o'clock, I'd like to call this meeting to order pursuant Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20. I hereby informing all attendees that a video and audio recording is being made of the meeting. We see who's in attendance online. We have Sean Renier, Matt Comer, and Holly. Could you identify yourself, Holly? Or not? Okay, thank you. We usually like to know who's
Can you
in
hear me?
attendance. Yeah, there we go. Yep.
Okay.
Your last name?
Patel, P-E-T-E-L-L.
Okay, okay. Right, first off, we have public comment. Kathy, you got anything this week? Okay. Anyone else?
One matter, Holly?
John Matter, Holly, any public comment? Okay, hearing none. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, that was a no.
Moving on, I'd like to open up the public hearing for our zoning bylaw amendment on accessory dwelling units.
Notice at 6:15.
Not on this agenda. We have no times.
Legal notice, I think it did. Fifteen.
All right.
Go Form A quick.
Yep. Patrick, you ready? You want to do you have what, 2 of them tonight? Huh? Yeah.
We'll go with Mitchell first. All right, Mitchell?
Sure.
Yeah.
Birmingham Road.
Hey, my name is Patrick McColgan. I'm the land surveyor representing Dale Mitchell, who owns property at the address under somewhere.
35.
Yeah, 935 Terringham Road. And what he's proposing to do, he owns what's outlined in green on this plan. And he's proposing to cut out lot number 1, which is 10 acres, a little over 10 acres for his son, Cody. So with all of this, he's cutting out this. This would be the remainder. Just cutting out this lot for his son.
Plenty of frontage
Oh, yeah.
left. Plenty of frontage there.
CR zone.
10 acres.
CR.
Whatever zone it's in, it's fine.
Look at the frontage there, but
He's got a ton of frontage and he'll do probably the same thing his father did at this end where he takes a run at it from a corner. There's plenty of room to work with.
it was a
Yeah. It's not going that high up on the hill either. You see most of the houses are about the same
Yeah.
height up. He's gonna be a little lower. He's in this field.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on this? Hearing none, I'll motion to endorse.
move that the board endorse submitted by Patrick McColgan, date of July 24th, 2023, for property Birmingham Road. What's the number, Pat? 935.
935.
935 Terringham Road.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Go around. Conrad?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
First name. Dan. Dan, okay. Dan? Aye. Sorry, aye. But still, I remembered. Okay, and Buck Donovan, aye. We are all set, I guess.
How many do you require? 3? I think it was last time.
2, 3, or 4, Beth?
You take
4. Yep. Gets submitted into the county.
Special pen for my work.
That one. Good.
Gotta date it.
Yep. Date on that one?
I dated that.
No word from Peg, Beth? Not like her.
Okay, and the second one is for Nicole Mozzarella, who owns property at 360 Pleasant Street, which is basically the last lot, kind of before 102 meets Marble Street. There's a big brick house next to the power lines. It's the one that's just south of it. This is the big brick turn onto Marble Street. It's basically all woods. You look up there. She inherited it from her father, I guess, and she wanted to see how many lots she could get out of it. There was a garage encroachment from the neighbor here,
Yep.
and so we created this lot number 4 right here. Lot number 4 is this little wedge, and it's not a building lot to be conveyed to an abutter. So they'll work it out where it will get conveyed.
To make the garage conforming then?
It doesn't make it conforming, but it puts it on their property. So it makes it better. Yeah. And they may end up buying all 3 pieces, is what I'm told, but I don't know.
Just encroachment.
Lot 4, even though it's not compliant, it's more compliant than what's there today.
Yeah,
That's the argument.
Yeah.
Actually on the,
Right.
their own property, right?
yeah,
That actually coaches over
right,
this piece of land.
right. He doesn't want to sell lot 1 with an encroachment on it. Here to sell to the abutter.
So Pat, can we approve a Form A if it's creating a nonconformity?
Yeah, because it says there's other uses for lots besides building lots. So if you point blank say it doesn't meet zoning or it's not available for a building lot, then it takes it out of the.
Subdivision regulation.
Right.
Okay.
So the ones that are available for building are 1, 2, and lot 3.
So how does lot 4 get taken out? How do we know that it won't get,
Well, it has to go to one of the abutters.
once it's declared
Yeah,
separated here?
yeah.
It'll be conveyed over to the butter of the house.
Right. And if they can't work something else, then it goes to one of the other lots that are touching it, either 1, 2, or 3.
And the person who has the house and garage will still have a non-conforming garage, right?
They will. Yeah, it would always be an issue. And it will probably be an issue when they go to sell. They won't be able to sell it because it's encroaching.
Oh.
So the easiest way to do this was to create that, to say, okay, here it is. And it's,
No, but I don't know if I understand you or you don't understand me. You're creating a triangular lot to eliminate the overreach of the garage.
Yes.
Because it's on somebody else's land.
yeah,
But after you get done, it's still not going to be compliant with the side yard requirements in the zoning, right?
correct.
So,
It will be okay because it was built and 6 years have gone by, so it stays with zoning.
right, so they will have a non-conforming structure.
They'll still have a non-conforming structure, which they still have, still is.
Yeah,
But it will be on their property, so like a bank giving them a mortgage or something like that, and insurances and stuff like that.
so is the person in the house that owns the garage, is that person related to the owner here?
No, no relation.
There's probably been a conversation.
There has been. Yep,
I'm just trying to figure out whether it would be better to have that triangle a trapezoid that's a little wider so that there's 15 feet or whatever the side yard requirement is.
yeah, I don't know if that's gonna happen because it was really tight for areas and stuff for making building lots here. So they're really just trying to maximize and take care of the encroachment that was on there. And there was talk about them even buying all of it. It's in the works possibly. But they also wanted to say, okay, well, you say you're selling me 3 lots, but do I have 3 lots? Well, you won't know. There's no preliminary approval for these kind of plans.
Yeah.
You have to come in and get them.
So if lot 1 got skinny down a little bit to make more room for the garage, it might not meet the half-acre requirement.
Yeah.
Less than 20, less than 20,000 square feet.
Okay,
All of them are almost like a minimum, just a little bit above it. Yeah.
Well, we can legitimize this, as lot 4 has got to be noted as not being a building lot.
It is noted.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah. And it's to be conveyed to an abutter. It just can't sit there by itself.
This is a signed off.
ready for
Is that a condition?
Sure, I think so.
Does there have to be a condition that?
I don't think so because we're approving this plan with that note on there.
Where's the note?
The note's right underneath lot 4, right where you're looking right at it. Yeah, it's not a building lot. So that takes it right out of looking at it as a Form A.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I'll move that the board endorse the Form A submitted by Patrick McColgan dated August 8th, 2023 in relation to lots 1, 2, 3, and 4 of Nicole Notarella.
Okay, second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Conrad?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Dan? Aye. Donovan, aye. Okay. Let's start signing. 28th,
28th.
8/28/23. Get one more out of there. We'll finish. We got going here.
Better than first time.
There we go.
That isn't my life.
It's done. Uh-oh.
Right out. Yeah, and we have another one.
Doing the service plaza down in Kingston.
Doing?
Yeah, I think there's one down there.
I'm doing that.
You're doing them all? The EV chargers.
I look at the,
I don't know, the guy said they were going to Kingston. They loaded
probably
up.
the town kings, I know it. Angola,
Either one further down. I think it is.
not Malton.
I'll make sure it is the throughway one.
You've been to the one in New Baltimore?
No,
Something like that.
huge. I went by it. Thank you, Pat. Okay, now we're at 6:18. We'll officially open up the public hearing for zoning bylaw amendment on accessory dwelling units. Just a little background on this. Accessory dwelling unit is a how did we define, we did define it. It could be in the house also, right?
Yeah, in the house or in the backyard, basically.
In the backyard, attached or detached. Until this point, it is, say if you had a apartment above a garage that was detached, it would not be a legal dwelling. We felt, there's been talk for years that this kind of was a flaw in our zoning, so we went into it and tackled it. And hopefully it'll help out with, some income for home ownership and possibly some rentals. Any further on this, Peter, you got? I mean, you wrote it. We've hammered it out.
Yeah, I think, Mr. Chairman, I think you covered the basics. We want to be able to, for homeowners to have an opportunity to obtain some rental income. If they have their, maybe the kids have moved out and they're living in a big house, they could maybe create an apartment and get some rental revenue from that. We wanted to see if we could find a way to make more housing available at moderate price in town, especially rental housing. And we wanted to see if we could get housing units more varied in the town so that there'd be people at a variety of life stages and people with disabilities could have a better chance at housing, especially young people. We heard quite a bit about young families that can't afford to return to Lee after they finish schooling and maybe early jobs out of town. And we wanted to do it in a way that protects property values. So we took, I think, a modest approach in allowing for these ADUs, but putting some restrictions on them that prevent them from being constructed as mansions in the backyard. There's some pretty sizable limitations on this gross the gross floor area. And we were reciting also the maybe obvious things that each ADU has to function separately as meet the health and safety codes and have separate kitchen, bathroom, and entrances. We also had what we think is a moderate parking requirement, requiring 3 off-street parking spaces. Also concluded that no ADU should be offered for short-term rentals, which is another bylaw that we have shortly up for consideration. And the construction of an ADU on a larger lot would prevent that lot from being subdivided later into two separate houses. I think that summarizes the major components, Mr. Chairman.
Sure does.
Well, also, the other kind of big thing here too is it's not allowed by right. It is by special permit. So somebody just can't put these things anywhere. It does have to be an application to the planning board or a special permit.
Correct. That's the big, the control we can maintain on it so that it's not get out of hand. Any questions from rest from the table?
If someone has an existing structure, garage now, that's over the square foot requirement, and they wanted to put an, apartment upstairs for relative, is there, do they have to fall, what was this, 900 square feet?
I believe they would.
Yeah, that's right.
And if they
They can't do it at all now.
You can't do it at all.
So it may not be where we wind up in 20 years.
Right.
But it's a step, we think, in the right direction. Maybe a pretty small step, but still a step.
If the garage, if it was a big garage, 900 square feet of that garage floor area could be allocated to the ADU. And if you got a larger garage, only 900 square foot maximum of that garage area could be allocated towards a living space. And dimensionally, we got provisions on how that dimensions arrived at, outside dimensions, not including decks, not including covered. Things and the like.
Okay.
Just to give you a guideline, a 28 by 32 garage, if it was full,
Yep.
that's 900 square feet. That's
Okay.
a real big garage.
Yeah.
And a garage is 24 by 24, basically. 24 by 28, something like that. So,
There's also a lot of discussion on this also on the sizing of the ADU. Sure that the ADU wasn't a large structure that was accessory to the primary home. I mean, if you have a small 800 square foot
Yeah.
house, we just didn't want a large McMansion.
Right, no, I get it.
It's got to be
I,
accessory to the primary residence.
1,000 square foot house with a 3,000 square foot ADU.
I get it. Some people have big garages, and maybe they want to put an in-law up there.
Think
If it
you
is over
could,
the 900.
But it's got to be
Yeah.
900.
Or it could be a 2,000 square foot barn with a 900 foot built-in apartment.
Right.
Could be a large structure, but still a small ADU inside.
Mhm.
But you
Also-
say this is a like in-law apartment.
Right.
Kids come back from college, you want them to be living there, or grandma and grandpa want to live nearby. I mean, this is a wonderful opportunity for that ability for those homeowners to bring family back in, or if they want to use it as a rental. A lot of older folks want to have a rental. So you do that. So there are a lot of good advantages to it. We just got to make sure it's controlled and done, appropriately. And good for the neighborhood. We don't want anything that's going to adversely affect the neighborhood.
Okay, anything else, anybody? Kathy? No? Anybody online in Zoom? Okay. Yeah, gee, I wish,
I know what to say.
I know, I wish, really wish Gordon would have chimed in on this.
Oh. I've been over it with him. We've had meetings. I've made changes to it.
And he was good with it?
As far as I know, unless he's
just-
thought of something else.
Okay. And his definitions were all good? Because he's particular on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we went over it
We
here
did,
when he was here.
Yep.
And I don't think he left with any objections, and
okay,
I don't think there's been anything changed of substance at all since then.
all right. So yes, I'll entertain a motion that we move this ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the board vote to report the ADU bylaw, the draft date of July 27th, 2023, favorably, and report it to the town that the planning board recommends adoption.
Second,
Second.
any further discussion? Hearing none, do a roll call vote. Conrad?
Aye.
Peter?
Yeah, aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Buck Donovan, aye. Sending it up, one down. Great. That's, congratulations, folks. It's only 2 pages, but it's been a long time coming. Great work.
I think it can make a difference in town in a lot of ways, depending on whether people take advantage of it or not. It may take a couple of years for people to figure it out and get the bank financing and such.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things we're learning on the master plan group is that school attendance is down. And maybe, chance to have more apartments for young folks moving back into town may help on that as well.
Okay. I'll now close the public hearing. That was, I don't know, makes me nervous when nobody comes. I'm like, oh no. Now they'll get the town meeting and have all the questions. How it goes. Next on the agenda, we did the Form As. Discussion on our alternate delegate for Berkshire Regional Planning Commission. This will go up to a recommendation to the select board, and the select board actually appoints the alternate. We have appointed the delegate, which is myself. Select board does the alternate. They had put up Bob Jones a few weeks ago, month ago, and he has since resigned. So it's normally come out of this group that we put a candidate up. And I think I'd like to nominate Peter for the alternate if he's willing.
I am willing.
Okay. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Conrad. Any further discussion? Hearing none, do a roll call. Conrad?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Donovan, aye. We will recommend Peter as the delegate to the select board. I think you need to do a letter of intent also, I think, to the
Okay.
select board. Since you're in the spotlight, you can do the master plan.
Beth, do you know what this letter of intent would look like? Do you have any idea? Can you help me with it? Thank you. Okay, master plan committee. We had a meeting last week, usual 2 hours. We are beginning next Tuesday with a bi-weekly or twice a month schedule as opposed to once a month schedule. Next week, we're going to be meeting on Tuesday because of Labor Day, but on Mondays generally thereafter. Sorry, I can't talk now. I'll call you back. We have, I recall at the last meeting, I asked you to appoint a new member, Patrick Rooney. This meeting, I am asking you to appoint one more and hopefully the last additional member. And this is Liliana Bermudez Ortiz. Liliana is a very well-known person in the community. She's been the head of the Latino Festival for many years.
Yeah. Awesome.
And she's turning it over to her daughter, but she's still very much involved and sort of teaching the daughter as she goes. And so Liliana is willing to serve, but she's unable to attend meetings in September. She'll be beginning to attend in October. I interviewed her and I feel that she has a strong commitment to the town. She understands a lot about the town, including some things that I think some of the other members may be lacking, such as intimate knowledge of the Latino community, which we don't have, we're not very strong on. And she knows a lot of those folks because she does taxes for many of them. She's a tax preparer. So I move the appointment of Liliana Bermudez Ortiz to the Master Plan Committee.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none. Conrad?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Donovan, aye.
And I-
Remember.
I have also, I want to just spend a couple of minutes summarizing what we've been working on, just so you see the direction of flow on things overall, at a broad gauge. We talked last time about two subjects, housing and education. And on housing, I think we are moving in we have strong feelings about housing, about its centrality to the success of the town's happiness and thriving. We feel that there's been probably an overemphasis on dispersed housing, building out single-family housing lots out to the edges of town that creates a greater reliance on cars than is probably necessary. And so we're going to be probably recommending some things that will improve or increase the housing more toward the downtown area and to make new housing units more walkable or, within 15 minutes, basically by bike or foot of commercial areas. We're also very interested in increasing affordable and workforce housing. The term affordable housing has been sort of hijacked, I think, to a very limited context of income dependent housing. And I think that there's definitely a need for more of that, but there's also a need for unsubsidized but affordable apartments that are more modest, like the ADU kind of units we were just talking about. And so I think the Master Plan Committee has not really coalesced on a specific plan or recommendations yet, but we are talking seriously about recommending the creation of a housing trust in Lee, similar to what exists in other towns like Great Barrington. That's something that's very actively under consideration. And I'll be scheduling meetings with some of the housing folks in town to learn more about how that would work. The other thing we talked about, we had the superintendent in by Zoom, and we had a lot of data presented to us. He was very forthcoming and candid about the situation in the schools. This is my summary of what I think are the important facts. The attendance at school, the enrollment in school Lee schools has been declining pretty much consistently and uniformly for 20 years. We've had some of the people I've talked with remember times when there were 100 people graduating. Some of them remember times when there were 60 or 70 people graduating. Now there's 35. And there's some classes with only 30 students in the year group. So we've been definitely on a decline. Nobody knows the future, but if that were to continue, we would be facing, I think, some serious questions about how to run the schools and what they would look like. And again, speaking for myself, I think that there are several possibilities that could improve matters for us. One would be if we were to merge with another town. Fortunately, the number of dance partners is quite limited in that area. There's a merger being voted on soon over in South Berkshire and Central Berkshire Hills. Voting to merge. And
By
the obvious
necessity.
candidate is,
By necessity,
what's that?
by necessity.
Well, yeah, that's what the proponents say.
Financial
That's,
necessity,
yeah. It allows them to have broader programs, I think. And, but, you know, it requires more busing, travel. So there are ups and downs on everything. But for us, the obvious candidate would be Lennox. And everybody is pretty down on that. Everybody thinks that's unrealistic. I've heard, oddly enough, I've heard some people say Lennox wouldn't want us. And I've heard other people say we wouldn't want Lennox. So
Pretty
maybe,
much how
maybe
it's-
both of those are true. I don't
Yeah.
know.
It's kind of, just historically, that's how it's been.
But that would be a way out of declining enrollments and having not to face decimated high school programs and, you know, half-empty elementary schools. And another option would be to take in more tuition students. And my understanding of the policy of the school board is that they are eager for as many tuition students as they can get. And I personally question the wisdom of that. I'm going to learn more about it. But if all that happens when a tuition student comes in is you get $8,000 more revenue, then everything's gravy. But if 10 or 20 or 50 of them, and you have to hire more teachers, there's a marginal cost, not just a
Right.
marginal revenue. And our average cost per pupil is about $20,000 a year. And our average, apparently our tuition revenue is about 8,000 plus. So it's like the old joke about how you're going to sell a product that you're losing money on. You make it up on quantity.
Yeah.
That's sort of what we're doing. Well, the third thing is that we could bring us out of this is having lots of kids coming from those apartments at Eagle Mill or other places in the backyard ADUs, and having the school enrollment actually go up from residents who live here and who, you know, walk or are driven to school from within town. And that's the most plausible to me way out of it. I will say that the committee, when this came up, the committee members seemed a little divided to me, and we haven't really fleshed it out and with a full thorough discussion. But there were some members who spoke very strongly in favor of leaving things as they are, or at least as I interpreted it. They were saying that the increase in the ratio of teachers to pupil has produced a great increase in quality and product, and the quality of the product. That was the one argument that I heard repeatedly. Another couple of people spoke about wanting to make sure that the schools are fully supported so that we can be proud of what we're doing for our children. But I don't know yet what the majority view is or how seriously the committee will be undertaking any of this. As I said, a lot of what I've said here is my own opinion, and I'm exploring it further. Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, I'd like to yield to Kathy for a chance to comment. She gave an impassioned speech about class sizes. And I don't know if you want to, I'm not encouraging you to give all the speech, Kathy. They may want to hear a summary of the speech. Can she come up to the table?
Yeah, come on up.
Whatever you like, Kathy.
Yeah, I'm very passionate about Lee Middle and High School, our Lee School District, having taught for 33 years there. Small class sizes are wonderful because you can fit in all the mandates that the state wants for students to pass the MCAS, that monster. And you have more time to work individually with students. You can go desk to desk versus, as I told you, my last year teaching, I had 32 students in my classroom. I didn't have enough desks and chairs. One student had to do independent study in a study hall. And Mondays, he would bring me his assignments for the week, and I would hand him assignments to be done for Friday, that type of thing. So class size is very important.
What number are you thinking, Kathy? What seemed to,
A number like around 15 is excellent. We also have to remember that the state is adding more and more mandates for the teachers. Sometimes their energy is all taken up on those mandates, and they then don't have the energy to deal with the students. We also have more and more students that have all kinds of problems that they bring from home, and the teachers have to deal with that. We also have to remember that teachers need salaries. They have their own children going to college and need to afford that. It would be great if the state would come up with a nice plan that says, okay, if you're teaching in a public school, we can give you X amount of money off your tuition if they go to a state college, you know, those types of things. We need to do in Lee, this is my own personal thing. We have to upgrade our curriculum. We need to have biotech and nanotech. We need things that are going to help our students get the better paying jobs so they can afford to come and live in their hometown. We need to bring back the technology program, not the technology, the house building, but what was that called, Dan? The trades, yeah, because we used to have that and we collaborated with other schools. We need something like that back. I noticed in today's paper, Taconic is now, like they got somebody that, donated a car, and the kids are gonna do things with automotive, which we had years ago. The price of things are out of sight, but love our school. I was on the committee with other people on this. I was on the school committee for 12 years. And I was with a group of teachers that worked with Lennox school committee. And Lennox just, because their curriculum is different, the pay raise for their teachers are different. So it was like we had to look at all avenues. We had to look at things globally. So it just seemed that because of their economy.
You were looking at mergers back then?
We were looking for, first of all, a collaboration, and we do have some collaboration, but it's not in the classroom, okay? The collaboration is like in the, I want to say cooking, it's not cooking, it's collaboration with the,
Home economics? Or?
no, it's not home economic, it's like with the cafeteria service. Okay, we have collaboration there. We tried to get a collaboration with a superintendent, and that didn't work. You know, we voted for somebody, and the person that was at Lennox at the time agreed that he wanted to help us out, and their school committee members said, no deal. So, I mean, we keep pursuing it to have more collaboration. We collaborate with school supplies and things of that nature, but we're not collaborating, you know, in terms of, helping each other out. Sorry. I remember one time our students were all in the auditorium, and we had, this was early technology, or something similar to this, where we could work with, I think it was Monument Mountain. So their teachers we're working with their students and our students in a particular subject. We do collaborate with the colleges, so we do have dual enrollment, that type of thing. But, you know, we keep working on these things. And I'm very hopeful, like you are, Peter, that with the development of that Eagle Mill, we will get some young people and they will come back. We also need more, not necessarily industry, but grow up in terms or expand our economy so that people have jobs here. So they'll have their children go to our schools. Very similar when we had the mills. People from Pittsfield that had jobs in our mills brought their children to our school because they dropped them off when they went to work and picked them up when they came home from work. That's my 2 cents.
Thanks, Kathy. I
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
wanted to make sure that the board had, well, since you were here, board heard your.
Yes, yeah, thank you.
So that completes my report. I'll be glad to answer any questions you have.
Sounds like it's coming along.
Yeah, we're still,
Getting there.
we're going to be doubling up our effort, as I said, and
Yeah.
we have a schedule for considering each of the sections that are going to be in the final plan. And I'm going to try to bring each one up 3 times, once in a general way, once with the draft in hand for discussion, and then once for a vote. And I'm hoping we can put away, you know, as we go through the fall, put away some of the sections and leave them alone until they reappear in the final full plan. We'll vote on that. I'm expecting that by Christmas, we'll be done with our committee work and except for a public hearing.
Nice.
I'm hoping, anyway. I don't know, I'm expecting, maybe stating it too highly, but.
Good. Any questions? Anyone? Okay. Moving on, I know Peg had toured the Spring Street nonprofit theater group that was going on. She was going to talk about that, but she's not here. Starbucks signs, we had requested, I'm looking at this now, requested to review and go back and look at what we actually had approved. And the packet I'm looking at looks like the original application, yeah, because this is showing the roof sign that was not allowed. Right.
Does it show 3 other signs on the building besides the
It
roof sign?
does, and then the correspondence. They were told B and C were the only ones allowed. Huh?
Is Matt on? Matt, are you
Matt.
still there? Can you explain this to us?
Yep. Can you help us out with this?
Yeah, what do you need?
Well, we have the original permit, but what I'm looking for kind of is the sign permits that were approved. Were all the signs that are on the building now on a permit somewhere that was approved?
Yes, there was one permit for all the approved signs that were given to the department.
Okay. And so that one in back, we're just out of luck. We
basically, Matt, you're saying we approved a permit with 3 signs on it.
My understanding was there out of the plan that was given, there was only 2 signs that were not approved, and those were the 2 roof signs.
Yeah.
I think one was a wall and one was a roof, and those 2 were not approved, so they didn't go.
Okay.
The code only allows for one wall
Yeah.
sign, right?
One building sign.
Right.
Yeah. So what do we have? We have Starbucks written out on the front, right? Is that right?
And then
Starbucks on the back and then their
got the circle
logo
in the front.
in the E. The circle's in the front now?
Yeah, I think there's the circle that was in the front also.
So, Matt, you're saying that by the inference of the exclusion of the roof signs, the site plan approval implicitly approved all 3 of the present signs? Is that right?
That is my understanding, yeah. Honestly, I had to dig into this myself because as I was looking through everything today, uh, this actually predated me. That permit was issued in 11 in November 30th of 21, and I didn't start till the end of December of that year.
Yeah.
So I had to go through this too and try to figure it out.
Kind of remember, Matt, I recall them coming in with their roof sign. And I think
But we had two proceedings, right?
Yeah.
We had one site plan review.
Yep.
And we had a permit, sign permit review.
yes,
And which one were you talking about just now, Matt?
The sign
Good.
permit. The site
Okay.
plan review, would have predated me by quite a bit because those permits were issued and then the construction began.
You have a recommendation, Matt?
A recommendation as far as
Whether we should try to get them to take one or two of the building signs down?
my honest recommendation.
Yeah,
I think they were allowed to do what they did. I actually worked pretty hard to get the sign not illuminated in the back. The one in question. It's labeled K on the plan there. Which they did, and they've been pretty
okay.
responsive. So the other big thing here for me was that I think there's an argument that this is not actually a sign. It's not viewable from the public way. So that's just another aspect of it, looking through the definitions later on as you guys started questioning what was going on with that.
but they have two that are visible from the public way, right? The logo and
They
the
do,
front
yeah.
sign.
Yep. There's the logo and then another Starbucks sign on the front.
What's the size of those signs? The size of those signs relative to what the code allows.
I think that sizes were allowed.
Sizes are allowable, just that that's the sign there up in the eave, so it's a logo. No,
I guess,
has there been any more complaints, or is everybody kind of settled in with it, Matt?
I haven't. The only time I've heard this mentioned is from Peter Conrad coming in. The only time I really received complaints was about the illumination from Maple Street,
Yeah, on that one, that's what kind of started this off.
and that was a big deal in my mind. That was a big deal because that shouldn't be either. That those signs were supposed to be off when they were in operation per the special permit anyway.
so in light of the fact that we, without recognizing it, approved this, and that one of the signs that is perhaps in violation of the bylaw is not visible from the road, I would move that we encourage the zoning enforcement officer to take no enforcement action on the Starbucks matter.
It sounds like it must have gotten missed somewhere along the way here. The risk comes in is you get another developer comes in, another restaurant user, they'll come in and go, oh, but they got a sign on the gable, they got a sign over here. How'd that happen? And then we end up having to defend it.
And then
That's
you
the
look
dilemma.
inconsistent, and maybe we lose because you're being arbitrary and picking on people, that you're letting some of them off. I think for me, the difference is that it was, first of all, it was an error that we made. I think the question is, should we try to go back now and retroactively fix the error? And I just don't see that there's a great deal of harm in the neighborhood. So
Yeah, I agree.
It was probably late. It's too late now anyway. I mean,
I don't know. I mean,
it was a mistake. It was done. And I guess we just got to be more cautious about that in the future.
Yeah,
well, we aren't even doing those. Matt's doing those permits now, so.
Yeah.
Presumably he's better at it than we were.
Because like the roof sign, I mean, that's obvious. That
was
that's
obvious,
not allowed.
right?
That's where our attention went that night, I think.
It did.
Yeah.
It did, and I think that's where it got we approved the sign, a set of signs, and not approved the front roof sign, and then I believe they came back with just the front sign and thought that that's all we had for signage, and that's how that mistake was made.
So, I mean, I guess if we get into that situation, Conrad, that you described of somebody
Happens
else
all the time.
claiming, you
Mhm.
know, arbitrary enforcement, I guess we could reopen it. But for now, I think we ought to leave it alone. And that's what my motion is. Not that it's, you know, a permanent decision. If it's in violation of the bylaw, any board in the future, any zoning administrator could reopen it.
Sign in the back, that's being turned off at night now, so that's,
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second? Second, Conrad. We'll go around. Conrad? Peter?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Donovan, aye.
Mr. Chairman, before we let the enforcement officer go, could I just mention, Matt, that someone contacted me about Dunkin' Donuts signs. I wonder if you take a look at those. There apparently are 3 different signs out front announcing that they're open. In addition to the signs that are permitted, they've got temporary signs saying, "We're open." I don't know.
I've actually contacted them already, Peter, because they have those tall. I don't know what to call them. Those tall
Banners there. Yeah.
banners, yeah. So I've already been in contact with them. So I can
Great.
follow up.
Thank you
Very good.
much.
Thank you. The tacky banners,
Yep.
basically. Okay. One more motion? Yep,
Do you want to table that strict?
we will. Yes. We'll do that next meeting.
TR public hearing,
Yes, yeah, and just,
September 11th, I think, right?
that's being scheduled.
That already is?
it is
Oh, it is. All right.
posted. Yep.
Our draft is good. With our draft is right now, we're okay with it.
That's what we'll be deciding at the public hearing. I think we're okay with it. but-
Right.
Yeah.
Any word on a town meeting yet? No. I hope they do it, or we have to go through this all over again. Okay. Motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Good night. Thank you, everyone.